Hello, everybody. I'm just letting Zoom admit everyone. Okay, looks like people are rolling in. Welcome. Thank you for joining this summer series best practice session. While we wait for people to trickle in, per usual, if you joined any of our best practice sessions in the past, we'd love to hear where everybody's tuning in from. So if you want to send it in the chat, we'd love to hear from you. I am located in Denver, and I'll let Kelsey and Rachel share where they're tuning in from.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm located in Brooklyn, New York.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I live in Denver, Colorado, but I am currently in upstate New York.
UK, we have Stanford, Columbia. Exciting. Getting all over the US. Brazil,
And
Canada,
Brazil, Canada, yeah, the
it's
UK.
international, Paris, Atlanta, Montreal, Virginia, nice. Hi, Michael. Hey, Rebecca's just like you, Rachel. Lives
I
in
know,
Colorado,
I was
in New
just
York.
thinking that. Yeah,
It's a great place to summer.
for sure.
Thailand, thanks for joining. Okay, well, keep sending where you're tuning in from. Really exciting to see such a variety of people joining in and representation from all over the world. We love to see it, and we love that our community is just growing and growing over time. Well, I won't waste any time here. I will jump in and get us started. So hi everybody, welcome to our second summer series best practice session. For those that don't know me, I'm Whitney Nielsen, Director of Client Engagement here at Fitwel, and I'm so glad that everyone could join us. This is one of my favorite series that we host because it's all about sharing what's new, exploring best practices for certification, and giving you the tools to get the most out of Fitwel. So whether you're brand new to certification or have been with us for years, hopefully you can get something out of today's session. So today we'll cover tips and tools to help you submit projects more efficiently, but we're also going to highlight how certification drives value for your projects, your team, and your clients, whether that's faster approvals, better documentation alignment, or even rent premiums. We'll touch on all of that. So I'm joined today by two of my amazing colleagues, Kelsey and Rachel. Kelsey is from our certification team, and Rachel is our Director of Standard Development. So I'll hand it over to you guys. Kelsey, if you wanted to take a quick moment to say hi and tell us about your role.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Whitney. As Whitney mentioned, I'm part of Fitwell's certification team. So I work closely with projects throughout the certification process, answering questions, reviewing documentation, and helping teams navigate the scorecards. I'm excited to share some tips today and best practices with you all.
Great. Thank you so much. And Rachel, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yes, thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Seco. I'm the Director of Standard Development here at Fitwel. I have a background in both urban planning and public health, and my role involves overseeing the development and updates to our scorecards and the standard and ensuring that everything we produce is evidence-based, practical, and aligned with market needs. And I'm especially excited to talk about our brand new low-rise residential scorecard later in today's session.
Great. Thank you so much, both of you. And thanks to everybody tuning in again. And before we dive in, I just wanted to do a quick housekeeping note and then go through the agenda and some updates. So today's session is being recorded, as you all might have heard when you logged in. We'll share the recording afterwards, and they are all also hosted on our Help Center. And we'll send the link in the chat to our best practice session section of the Help Center. So if you have any questions along the way, drop them in the chat. We'll share some answers live during the Q&A portion at the end of our session. And as a note, we will not have any slides during this session, but it'll be more conversational between myself and Kelsey for certification and myself and Rachel for Low-Rise. We'll be using the platform and sharing some items from the platform and Help Center to facilitate the conversation as well. As a note, we try to keep these sessions as close to 45 minutes in total as possible, and we'll aim to leave about 5 to 10 minutes at the end for Q&A. So let's jump in. Our agenda today, what we'll be covering is, first, I'll share some exciting new updates, as I mentioned, from Fitwel, including the launch of our Low-Rise Residential Scorecard and a sneak peek of what's coming next. Then I'll hand it over to Kelsey from our certification team to dive into some best practices for certification submissions, things that you can do to make the submission process smoother for your review process, and make everything a little bit more efficient and enjoyable. Then Rachel and I will review the Low-Rise Scorecard, including how it came to be, what types of assets it's perfect for, along with some helpful resources. So it'll be more of an overview conversation there. And then I'll wrap up with some guidance on how to get started with your own projects, whether you want to just certify a project on our platform or specifically use the Low-Rise Scorecard. We'll walk through both of those. And finally, we'll open it up for the Q&A session at the very end. So now we can go ahead and get started. So we've had a very exciting summer here at Fitwel. So I just want to kick things off with a few updates so that you're all in the know, and in case you missed anything or aren't on our newsletter. So as of Monday, July 14th, our new Low-Rise Residential Scorecard is live. This is perfect for garden-style apartments and student housing, and we're thrilled to see the early interest already from our users. And to celebrate the launch of this new scorecard, we're offering a 15% discount on certification fees for early adopters. So you can use the code LOWRISE15 when registering your project. There's a promo code box on the checkout page for you to insert that code. And as long as you invoice and pay both registration and certification upon registration, the discount will apply. So just wanted to make that clear. It will only come off of the certification fees. So if you decide to just register the project first and then pay certification later, you can still use the code, but just know that if you're only paying registration fees, you won't see the 15% discount off the $500. So we'll drop a link in the chat to the one-pager for our Low-Rise Scorecard, the discount code, so that you can read more about both of those. And then next, we are developing a hospitality scorecard. We know this is something that many of you have been asking about, so we're thrilled to say that it is in the works. And if you're interested in updates or want to be among the first to provide feedback, we'll drop an interest form in the chat for you to fill out, and our team will be in touch. Coming up on the end of the updates. So 2025 certification discount. Another discount we have over the next few months is for those planning on submitting their projects for 2025 certification. So we are offering a 10% discount on certification fees for projects submitted for 2025 STAR certification. You can use the code SUBMIT2025 and check the submission deadlines link that we'll be sharing in the chat to make sure that your project qualifies. Again, that discount code applies to certification fees. So if you haven't invoiced those yet and are looking to submit, we encourage you to go ahead and invoice so that when you go to submit, your project can go ahead and start its certification process. And then lastly, this isn't the end of our summer series. We'll be announcing the next session soon, which will be hosted at the end of August. So be sure that you're on our email list to get more information about registering and what the topic will be there. Okay, so lastly, actually, we just wanted to make a quick plug for a new peer-reviewed study from the University of Cambridge that came out this summer, published in the Journal of Environmental Management. So it confirms what many of us and you already know, that investing in health really does pay off. The research found that Fitwel certified office buildings command 4.6 to 4.8% higher rents across major US markets. It's a powerful data point that you can see when making the case for certification, especially when clients are focused on ROI and asset performance. So we'll drop a link in the chat right now, and we'll be spotlighting this more in our newsletter and socials over the next few weeks. So stay tuned for a few more tidbits from that study. Okay, so let's talk about some certification best practices. Kelsey, as you know, we're coming up on submission deadlines, as I mentioned earlier, and you can check out that link in the chat for the deadlines that are coming up. It's a perfect time for our users to review some tips and tricks to ensure that their submissions are ready to go for review. I know you have a ton of insight to share here, so I'll hand it off to you.
Thanks, Whitney. So certification is where all of the planning and the strategy come together. and I want to focus on a few key areas that can really make a difference for our users. So, number one, start early and build a realistic timeline. We always recommend building in enough time to gather documents, engage your project team, and ask questions. Submitting last minute can lead to unnecessary stress and occasionally even delays. So, think about your certification timeline at the project's start when possible. Next, focus on documentation quality. Think of documentation as evidence that our team uses to verify your project. The clearer and more detailed, the better. For some context on the review process, we work with third-party reviewers, and they don't know anything about your project before they get started. So the more information that you provide, the better they can assess your project. Annotated floor plans, highlighted features, labeled photos, and concise compliance notes are game changers. If we can see it clearly, then we can verify it quickly. And Whitney here, as you can see, she has the Help Center pulled up. You can see some sample documentation, especially for V2.1 strategies, and we do continue to add upgraded sample documentation for V3 versions of the strategies as well. Next, I recommend leveraging Fitwel templates and resources. We've created policy templates to make compliance easier. These are available in the Help Center as well. Whitney is pulling those up on the screen. And these templates, they're designed to match exactly what the certification team looks for during the review. A lot of these policies and procedures can be used as turnkey solutions if you don't already have something like an indoor air quality policy, for example, which we have the template pulled up on the screen. If you don't already have one in place, you can see here the directions for this policy even say that you can fully model your policy off of our template. If you already have your own policies, we can recommend using our templates to ensure alignment with the strategy requirements and take the time, highlight where to find those requirements within your own policy. And then lastly, I would say ask questions early. If you're unsure about strategy requirements, if you are unsure what documentation is needed, please reach out early. We're always happy to clarify things before submission. As a quick note, we do not review documentation early. However, our customer success team can provide guidance and they can answer your questions. We'll share information in the chat about how to contact them.
Great. Thank you so much, Kelsey. And I'll echo what Kelsey just said. Starting early and using the templates can really smooth out the process. I want to highlight additionally that it is okay not to go for every single strategy. Fitwel is designed to be flexible and applicable across a variety of assets, and most projects aim for what is feasible and impactful. We know that it can feel like a lift to align the internal documentation, but once you do it once, that work can often carry over across your portfolio. We've seen teams leverage one certification across dozens of assets, saving time and amplifying impact. So don't forget, Fitwel scorecards are backed by global evidence and now even real estate market data that shows measurable ROI.
Thanks, Whitney. Exactly. We want to help you focus on quality strategies rather than on quantity.
Great, exactly. And one last tip in terms of the certification best practices, and I'll pull up the platform to facilitate this. For those that are less familiar maybe with the platform, we have what is called the gap analysis tool. And as you just saw, it is located right here in the top right corner of the digital scorecard. So when you're on your scorecard, and you can see the sections on the left, there is this gap analysis button. So I'll hop over to this, and you can find the areas of opportunity, areas of strength, which is a great marketing tool, and the scorecard summary. The areas of opportunity is a great summary of the potential strategies that you can leverage that you have not yet pursued in order from highest to lowest point value. This can really help you easily identify the strategies that will have the largest impact to help your project get to the threshold that you're looking to achieve. And then finally, two last reminders: payment of registration fees need to be completed in order to upload documentation So I'll jump back to the digital platform. You can see here payment status is now very readily available. So when you hop into your digital scorecard, you can clearly see your payment status. You can see this project was just invoiced for registration fees. So when I hop over here, the upload document button is grayed out. So as soon as those registration fees are paid, the $500, that button will become active. So that's the first note I wanted to make. And then payment of certification fees must be received in order for our certification team to begin their review of your project. So even if you're ready to submit and have invoiced your project, until payment is received, the review cannot begin. So make sure you take a look at those submission deadline dates, make sure your payment is in on time so that the process isn't delayed and we can get you your project before the end of 2025. And then finally, as a reminder, again, be sure to visit our help center and utilize the search bar if you are looking for clarity around a strategy or a piece of documentation. That can be an easier way to navigate our help center. Okay, I will stop sharing my screen. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kelsey. It's been a pleasure to have our certification team's expertise on these sessions.
Thanks, Whitney. It's so great to be here, and the certification team is always here to help project teams during certification review.
Great. And that's actually a great reminder. Kelsey plugged it earlier, but the customer success team is here to help via ambassadors or info at. If you have a relationship manager, definitely reach out to them. And then during the certification review itself, so post submission, you can reach out directly to our certification team with any questions you have at certification@fitwel.org. Thank you again. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit here and talk about something brand new, our low-rise residential scorecard. Rachel, thanks for joining us. Can you give us a little bit of background on this new scorecard?
Definitely. So the scorecard was developed to meet clear and growing demand in the industry. A few years ago, we piloted a scorecard specifically for garden style projects. And while it was meant a meaningful step forward, we continue to hear from developers, operators, consultants that unique feasibility challenges did remain. And so especially for those low-rise housing types that didn't neatly fit into existing standards. So we created a solution tailored specifically to these communities. And whether you're working in affordable housing, suburban markets, workforce communities, the scorecard offers a credible and efficient way to demonstrate value. And just a couple things to know about the scorecard for low-rise housing. It's specifically designed for low-rise multifamily housing that's 2 to 6 stories high. The strategies really emphasize community connection, safety, and access to outdoor amenities, among other health promoting features. And there's 2 pathways available for both assets with shared interior spaces and also those without. And the flexibility makes it easier to align the certification with your project specific characteristics without compromising credibility or rigor.
Thanks, Rachel. Can you share an overview of the key differences that users can expect between this scorecard and what they may be more familiar with in the multifamily residential scorecard?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So these asset types come with unique feasibility considerations. One of the most common being the absence of shared indoor spaces in some low-rise assets. And so to help increase feasibility across a wide range of low-density multifamily residential assets, we offer 2 distinct certification pathways, as I just previously mentioned. So there's the low-rise residential with shared interior spaces scorecard pathway that's designed for those developments that include any shared indoor areas under owner or manager control. So those shared spaces are things like corridors, stairwells, main building entrances, or resident amenities such as a lounge, a fitness center, or a clubhouse. And so this scorecard pathway includes strategies that apply to those shared spaces. The low-rise residential without shared interior spaces option is designed for developments that don't include any of those shared areas. And so strategies that rely on those indoor common areas are excluded from the scorecard and instead includes alternative compliance options that better reflect the realities of those buildings. And then I'd say, lastly, another important feasibility factor is the presence of multiple buildings on a single site for many of these projects. So this is a common scenario for low-rise housing assets. And we heard consistently from our early engagement cohort and others working with low-rise assets that one of the biggest challenges is compiling documentation across multiple buildings. And so both pathways include guidance to streamline documentation and ensure consistency across multiple building properties. And you'll find instructions on how to demonstrate compliance across these buildings efficiently without duplicating work.
Great. This is all very helpful in terms of the two pathways and what's available to our users. So can you talk a little bit more about how projects teams can streamline documentation for these multiple building applications?
Yes, and we'll actually be diving much deeper into this topic in a future webinar that will focus specifically on the application and implementation of the low-rise residential scorecards. But to give you a quick overview now, while each building in a project does need to meet the requirements, documentation can often be submitted at an asset level rather than building by building. And this can help to streamline the process for assets with multiple buildings. So a few examples of how that works. Documentation for things like policies or protocols can be submitted once for all of the assets, assuming that they apply to all buildings in the project. So like the indoor air quality policy that you guys just shared would be one example of that. Or when demonstrating access to amenities, you can submit a single map showing the distance from the furthest building, which helps to confirm that all other buildings meet the requirements too. And then for things like signage or design elements, you only need to document each unique type. So for example, each sign design or each unique window type, you wouldn't need to document every individual instance across the site. And then lastly, if your project includes multiple identical buildings, so those are buildings with the same footprint and design elements, you don't need to repeat documentation for each one. You can group those together and submit them as one set for fixed design elements like floor plans, stairwells, or entrances, which can significantly reduce your workload. So we've really built in flexibility and efficiency to make documentation as manageable and scalable as possible. And you can check the chat for a link with an article for more information about this guidance.
Yes, definitely check the Help Center. We have a section actually dedicated to the Low-Rise Scorecard within our V3 section. So you can find all the information we've already shared in the chat along with the documentation guidance that Rachel just shared. So lastly, before we discuss how you can get started using this scorecard, Rachel, can you share more about the beta process and what users should know and expect from a beta product here at Fitwel?
Yeah, another great question. So the Low-Rise Residential Scorecard is currently in beta, which means it's fully available for certification. Your project can earn a valid certification using it right now and be recognized just like any other Fitwel scorecard. The beta period typically lasts 1 to 2 years and allows us to gather feedback from users while they're actively applying the scorecard. So this input from your real world application helps to ensure that the final version is clear, feasible, and effective across a wide range of asset types and geographies. So while in beta, again, you can certify fully valid. We may make minor clarifications like clarifying requirements, adding additional optional documentation pathways, but we'll never change the core strategy requirements. So in rare cases, we might add that optional expansion to give more flexibility, but any updates will be clearly communicated, scheduled in advance, and designed to minimize disruption to active projects. By certifying during beta, you're not only earning a valid certification, but you're helping to shape the future of the scorecard for the broader market. I would also say that we're actively seeking the feedback, and there is a feedback link. We'll be sharing more in the future with more details on how to share your feedback on the scorecard and engage in this process.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We're all excited about the Low-Rise Scorecard and everyone's participation. It is still early in its launch phase, so please reach out if you have any questions. We're happy to chat with you about implementing it on your assets. So thanks so much for sharing all that valuable information, Rachel. Again, you can find more information about our Low-Rise Residential Scorecard and the beta process itself on our Help Center and all the articles that we shared earlier. I know we just scratched the surface on both of these topics, but we're always available to share more information and would love your feedback on future topics to host. And as Rachel mentioned, we'll do more of a deep dive on implementation for the Low-Rise Scorecard since it is a new approach. So for anyone ready to dive in, here's where to find information on our new Low-Rise Scorecard and how to get started. I do want to show how to access this on the platform. So I will share my screen again just to help everybody navigate in case you're not familiar with our Help Center. So I'll just share from where we were before. So if you're on our Help Center, I mentioned earlier, you can use our search function. So if you type in, a strategy name or number or, a keyword, you'll get either documentation help, you'll get strategy guidance. A lot of different resources are available on our Help Center. And then I mentioned you can find the low-rise residential under our Welcome to V3. So you would navigate here. You can find what Rachel was talking about, the multiple building documentation guidance right here. So you can read through all of that ahead of our deep dive conversation. And then additionally, we have the one pager that is available here. So there's a download. You can also submit your feedback and learn more about the product there. And then additionally, something that's available on the Help Center itself, focusing on low-rise still, are the checklists themselves. So V3 checklists are all located together. So low-rise was added here, V3 scorecard checklist and applicability matrix. We featured the applicability matrix previously on a best practice session, but I'll plug it again here. If you want to figure out what scorecard is most applicable to your project type, you can download this Excel here. It has a lot of valuable information on design and built pathways, and then all of our scorecard types applicable to different typologies, and what occupants you'd be impacting and the scope of the project. So all great information. Thank you to our standard team for finalizing that and getting it on the Help Center. And then what we came here for, the checklist. So all of our checklists are here. These are all Excel files. You can see down here, we have new. Both the low-rise pathways are located in the same Excel document. So I'll pull this up here. This is the Excel that we have available. And you can see here, there's, about the document, how to use it, the two pathways that are available, some key terms. So there's a lot of valuable information on this page. And then you can see the two pathways have their own tab down here. And then you can click on the strategy name, and they're all hyperlinked to our Help Center. So even after you download the Excel, you can click on the strategy names to get the full requirement and compliance documentation if you are working offline. So I wanted to share that. They are available on our platform. And then when registering a new low-rise project, I'll jump over to the platform real quick. This is our registration page, and I'll actually cancel out of it so you can see exactly how to get here. This is an account page. So once you sign into the platform, this is the user account. You can go to either a portfolio, click into a portfolio, or go to the projects tab and select add projects. When you're on this page, you do have to select a portfolio for your project to live in. You do always have to give a project name. Registration will automatically be checked. And then for project type, to select low-rise, you can see it is mentioned here, but it does fall under the project type multi-building asset. So just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. And then if you do want to utilize our low-rise certification discount code, you do need to input the project size. So I'll say this is 30 acres. You have to choose, the units that you're measuring your project in. Check this box for project certification, saying your wish to invoice that. And then on the payment page, just so everybody knows where to find the promo code, it's located at the bottom here, and you'll just enter either Submit 2025 or Low-Rise 15, depending on what product you're looking to use. I will stop sharing my screen here. And as I mentioned, the scorecard checklist, across all of our scorecards, they're practical tools designed to help project teams track progress towards their Fitwel certification. So feel free to use, there's columns there to select yes, no to those strategies, select which option you're looking to pursue certification with, and actually tally your score if you want to do an offline gap analysis ahead of registering your project on the platform. And then just general best practices and tips across the board for how to get started. If you are excited to jump in and don't already have a project registered on the platform, I just want to do a very quick review. You can register your project utilizing app.fitwel.org, our Fitwel platform site. You can explore the scorecard checklists found on our Help Center. You can use those as a roadmap for strategies that you wish to pursue. And then our valuable resources that both Kelsey and Rachel mentioned are available on our Help Center, along with those policy templates to plan your documentation. So definitely use the templates that we provide if they provide value to you. And then lastly, reach out to us. If you're unsure about anything or have additional questions or suggestions, we're always open to feedback. Our team is happy to walk you through next steps or speak to timelines around when something may be coming out. So Kenny will be sharing some links to those resources in the chat. And then lastly, we'd love to hear from you all. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat and we'll take any that we can right now. And if you don't have any, we can give everybody a little bit of time back. I want to review a few more things, but we'll give you a second to drop anything in the chat. And to kind of kick us off, a common question that I've been seeing since the launch of our Low-Rise Scorecard is if you've already registered a project on the platform and you think it is a better fit for the Low-Rise Residential Scorecard, but it wasn't available yet, feel free to reach out to us at info@fitwel.org or ambassadors@fitwel.org, and we're happy to discuss how you can get transitioned over to that scorecard. Or if you have any questions on registration, we're happy to answer those as well.
We did get one question in the Q&A that I did answer. And then I see there's another one that just came into the webinar chat. So Lori, I did answer your question right in the Q&A chat about what programs to use for marking up plans for annotated documentation. So let me know if you have any other questions. And then someone asked if you could show again how to enter the certification scorecard where they need to upload the documents in the platform.
Okay, definitely. Let me share my screen again. I'll bring up that Low-Rise Scorecard we had up previously. So this one, it is locked because, as I mentioned, unless fees are paid for registration, it will be the upload document button will be locked. But just to give a quick overview over, where to find things per strategy. So you'll go to whatever section you're looking to submit, and you can go out of order. It's everything auto saves, which is great. So you don't have to worry about pressing a save button as you go through. If you're looking to just do a gap analysis, we recommend just going through and selecting, yes, no, because on the overview page, your score will be auto calculated for you, which is really great. So I'll jump back to location. Let's pretend we're going through community destinations here. I'm choosing option 1 to pursue credit here. You can see automatically it pops up on the right sidebar here. You can see all of the requirements. What's really great about the updated platform is that when you go to do the compliance documentation, we actually ask that you check for community destinations. These are, what destinations are connected to the project. So you can select the ones that qualify here, and we even note there need to be a minimum of 3. And then requirement 2 requires a document. So here you are required to check document uploaded. And then you'll need to come over here and select the upload document and upload the document for a certification. Hopefully that helps as an overview. How much time should be allowed for preparing a submission and working hours and months for the various steps? This is a great question, and I wish there was a more straightforward answer, but it really does depend on the scorecard you're looking to pursue, the number of strategies you're looking to pursue, if it's an existing building or a new build, and then how much information you have readily available. I would say we have some great consultants that we work with. We have a champion provider program. So if you are looking to, make the documentation process as efficient as possible, we do have a lot of trusted partners that we're happy to connect you with. They can also be found on our website on our champion page under our partners. But I would say it does take between 1 to 3 months sometimes, depending on the amount of documentation you already have available to you. But if you already have access to photographs and those policies, it can be a very quick process. And we're happy to help however we can. I will stop sharing my screen. Okay, let us know if anybody has any other questions. While we're waiting, if you have any other questions, feel free to send them. You can also reach out to us via email and our follow-up email or the emails that we sent earlier to contact us via customer success. So to kind of close us out, thank you so much everyone for joining today's session. Thank you, Kelsey and Rachel, for sharing your knowledge here. Certification isn't just about checking boxes, as we've discussed earlier. It's really about creating buildings that perform better, for people and for investors. So now with research showing rent premiums and a streamlined platform, as we just reviewed, to get you there, the value proposition has never been stronger. So just some last minute reminders. The Low-Rise 15 promo code gets you 15% off Low-Rise Residential certification fees. Submit 2025 gives you 10% off 2025 star rating certification fees. And if you're looking to participate in our hospitality scorecard, we have the interest form available if you would like early updates. And then keep an eye out on your inbox. Sign up for our newsletter via the link. I believe Kenny's going to share it again so that you can sign up for our next summer series session. Okay, it looks like we don't have any additional questions. Oh, actually, Gabrielle, this is a great question. And actually, if what Gabrielle asked, if anybody isn't looking at the chat, is how many Fitwel buildings are there in Canada and Quebec? We love answering these questions for people. We are happy to always pull this data. If you are looking to, see if a potential project is going to be the first in a certain location or using a certain scorecard, if you could reach out to info@fitwel.org, we can pull that information for you. So let us know, what you're looking to achieve. Giving us the location and then also the scorecard you're looking to achieve is really helpful. We're happy to get that to you. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining. Thanks again, Rachel and Kelsey. We're happy to continue to host these, and we hope everybody joins our next summer series. Okay.
We just had one more, sorry, we had one more comment.
Yeah.
From Sarah, asked about case studies on impacts and returns.
Yes. So this, we can actually make sure it's included in our follow-up email. We do have some case studies to share. If you are subscribed to our newsletter already, you might have seen some value one-pagers come out on our different typologies and scorecards available. So keep an eye out for those. We'll continue to release them throughout the summer. And then additionally, if anybody is ever interested in promoting their project, we love hearing from you guys on exciting projects and successful certifications. So again, via info, ambassadors, or via your RM, you can reach out to us and let us know about exciting projects so that you could be part of a case study. Great question. Okay, well, it looks like
Thank you, everyone.
That might have been the last question. Again, feel free to reach out to us if you have anything that comes up or you didn't get a chance to put it in the chat. But thanks again, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your Wednesday. Okay, bye.
Thank you.